What's going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of the Dual Hemisphere Hangout. I'm one of your hosts, Luke, and join with me every single week. I do have my lovely co host, Jake. Jake, say hello to the people, my man.
Hello, everyone. What is happening? Are we all good? Good in the hood?
Good in the
It's
hood.
raining in Australia
Oh,
today.
is it?
It's like the first rain of like 3 months. In three
Oh,
months,
wow.
maybe 4 months. I'm enjoying it. It's a
There you
whopping
go.
19 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's
Sounds better than
nice.
when it's, it sounds better than when you're telling me it's 23 or 24 degrees centigrade.
It's
So is it now beginning? Is it the wet season now, or is it
yeah, it's
like what
going
are you?
into
Okay,
we're going into winter. But not winter,
okay,
autumn. But like autumn doesn't
awesome.
really exist here, and nor does spring. It's very just
Same, same,
polarizing. Yeah,
same,
it's just
same.
hot all year round,
It's just yeah,
and
just
then summer's just
literally
more hot.
yeah. I think we got winter for about 2 months here, and then we literally got
You did get snow.
like we did get we got a dusting. Like, I'm talking less than an inch, and it shut the entire city of Tallahassee down for 2 days. Um, and and then I think we got, like, maybe 2 weeks of, like, spring before it went back into the 70s and 80s, and now
Yep.
just it's no matter what, it's a high of 85, and it's gonna be going up to the highs of 90s. We are peak, Florida summer. Not peak Florida summer, but we're in summer everywhere else in the goddamn state.
Yeah, it's 66. That's it. I thought I'd just do a quick Google while you were saying it. Yeah, it's 66 right now.
Yeah, no, it was not. It's 71 right now here.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my
so
gosh. Well,
we're in the same boat. Just less
yeah,
humidity.
for sure. Yeah, bro. It's crazy out here. But kind of talking about the weather and stuff like that, I feel like it'd be kind of cool. Me and Jake were actually talking about this. It's actually been about a year since me and both Jake moved from what we called home for a majority of our lives to these new places. Mine being from Virginia to Florida, which you guys may think, oh, it's just a different state to a different state. Tell you right now, Florida is like no other
Different.
state in the goddamn country of the America. And then Jake did the most extreme move, and he went from cold, wet, sad Britain to the wildlife of Australia. Um, so I figured it'd be a cool idea just to kind of sit down, just like talk about what it's like, I guess, being a resident for a full year. So I mean, I guess I'll throw it over to you, Jake. Jake, man, how's it been? It's been a full year, man, which is crazy.
It doesn't feel like it's been a year, honestly. Like it's had its ups and downs, I guess. Like it's hard to put the rose tinted glasses on just yet. Like it's not it's too early to say like any sweeping opinions.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. Especially in my I'm a Google Sheet fanatic, and my finances it's been the best financial year I've had in a long time.
Okay. Well,
But that
that's a
being
plus.
said, the expenditure has also kept up with it, so I'm in no better place than what I am what I was a year ago. Oh, adult life. Adult life. You're just
Yes,
constantly chasing
yes,
the bag, and the bag just seems to be it's got a little hole in the
small.
bottom, and it's just dripping out the back. It's like you fill up
Exactly.
you fill up your fuel tank, but your fuel tank's got a slow leak.
Yes, a slow leak, like it's dropping. It's like a little drip per mile, but that drip adds up over time.
But no, I have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I tolerated the summer better than I thought I would, but the
Mhm.
first few months of 40 degrees that I get my handy dandy calculator, so 104.
Yeah.
That hit me hard. That if
Oh, I bet.
you know when you're expecting it, but it's still your expectation still wasn't like up to par. Oh my
Yeah.
god. In this new house, we do have aircon though, so the next time it comes
Let's
around, and we're
go.
south facing, so no, north
Yeah.
face. I forget which one it is. We've got the bad one, but the bad one is good because we don't get the
Okay.
sun trap. Or like
Okay.
in the old house, it had like
Mhm.
glass windows all down the back, and
Okay.
it would catch the sun all day. And you think, oh, that's great, until it cooks the living hell out of your living room, and you're there constantly battling with temperature regulation. While here, the house is way darker. Great for streaming because I
Yeah.
can control my lighting situation. Uh,
That's always nice.
and I don't have to fight the light. Um,
Yeah.
but it definitely, this house was built to be cool, and I
There
appreciate
you
that a
go.
lot. In terms of
Yeah.
like lifestyle and stuff, I haven't really been able to get out and do anything really.
Yeah.
It's been a full on work year, and
Yeah.
adjusting to definitely a new place of work is hard. Like it's because although I've done this job before, everything's like slightly different, and hammering the old habits out is really like difficult. Don't know what it is,
Mhm.
but I think it gets harder with age. Like hammering out the
Yeah.
old habits. And what else have I done really? And then I mean, the I didn't take. I think come January, I've started to take content creation a bit more seriously. But over
Yeah.
the time that I've been here, I've had a lot more time to sit down and do some content creation. I think okay, it's not gone fantastic, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of proud of what I've got. What I've got coming up is a whole different story. But I wouldn't have been able to put this much time of sitting down editing back home.
Yeah.
There was always something going
Yeah.
on. There's always someone to
Mhm.
see.
Yeah.
Perth stands out as the most isolated city in the world, and I feel it sometimes. Like there is
Mhm.
nothing to fill my day. Getting used to
Yeah.
the Aussie way of life as well is quite hard. Coming from major city in the UK, you'll probably understand this, Luke, as well, because you've been to major
Mhm.
cities in the US where commercial lives for the consumer. While
Yeah.
here, it's commercial is just there for convenience of the consumer, not like there's like one 24-hour supermarket. Everything's shut on public holidays. Most shops are shut at 5. I finish at 6 p.m. So like I can't do shopping after work. It's
Yeah.
it's a massive like shift. And what I feel like it feels like I've come here to retire
Mm.
in a way. It's
Mm.
very slow. It's a slow pace of
Yeah.
life, and many people will chase it. And I didn't realize that I wanted a bit more pace until I got
Yeah.
it all taken away from me. The hardest realization I think we said on the first podcast was when I went to order something off Amazon, and I'm being used to like not even next day. Like I used to live near a warehouse, so it would be same day delivery by 8 p.m.
Mhm.
Going from that to 3 weeks, but just like bog standard items that I would usually pick up, so like extension cords, plugs, like not fancy stuff, but stuff that you'd want fairly instantly. Like you're buying it for a reason. It's like, okay, I'll just pick up on Amazon. It'll come today. Nope. I have to go to the store tomorrow. Oh, well, that means I have to go before work because it shuts by the time I
Yeah.
finish work. So I've had to adjust a lot. But it's would I say it's worth it so far? Probably not. I'd say like it's for all the effort I've gone through, we're not reaping the rewards just yet. Um,
Yeah.
but I suppose that's to be. It's a long term investment. It's not. I'm
Yeah.
just used to. I'm very impatient, as a lot of my
Yeah.
friends know.
Yeah. I
I
mean, on the
Go on, Luke.
yeah. No, I was gonna say it's like it's. I mean, I think any time you move anywhere like significant, it's like the first year is always going to be a little bit rougher than expected because the expenditures of one moving first of all is never fun. It's a lot of money to move. Depending on where you're moving towards, just wait so much money that you gotta dig yourself out of because unless you have the money up front, at least I will say like the biggest difference between me and you is you were planning on moving.
Yeah,
I was found out that we were moving. Me and my roommate found out we were moving about literally on a Friday, and we were moving in 2 weeks. So it was very, very quick and very much like something different. So yeah, when you say like adjusting, you haven't really you're finally starting to adjusting, but yeah, you haven't seen the benefits. I feel like that's expected for most people after their first move because it's just like They're adjusting to a new way of life, and yeah, it's just like I think like let's say we revisit this conversation next year, we'll probably be like, oh yeah, it was worth it because now we're
Yeah,
adjusted, right? We're not, we're our the bank accounts are finally coming back. We're kind of finding our groove, kind of becoming one with where we're at now because just like a kid in the playground at school, you go into a new school, you don't know anyone, you might meet one or two people, but if you go move with your best buddy you got at least your best buddy with you who you're gonna spend
yeah.
the most time with anyways.
I
And
suppose we've been
so
lucky that we have got someone like your roommate, and I've got Rachel to come
yeah,
with. Which definitely makes. If
exactly.
I'd have done this solo, I don't
Yeah,
think I'd have lasted. I think I'd have been
yeah,
going back by
exactly.
now.
Same. Oh yeah, I would have been back in Virginia in a heartbeat if I came down here by myself. I'd be like, I'd be here about. I'd been here for like. I'd be like, hey Jake, you're like, hey, did you move? I moved, and I moved back.
Yeah,
um,
it was same.
yeah,
The
we're
same.
saying- we probably would
I'll
have
tell you what.
lasted about.
I'll tell you what. It made the podcast really easy.
Yeah,
It would
exactly.
make it so much easier.
It would, it would. But I think it is to be expected, because yeah, you got to adjust to everything. I mean, if it sounds like for you, I don't know why. I just feel like Perth is not as small as you make it sound to be. I guess because when I think of Australia, there's three cities that I know of, that
I,
being Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, and then the only other city, and I know this because I watch wrestling, is Adelaide.
yeah,
um, but they seem like they always do like shows over in Perth for some reason. So for me, my mindset is just like, is like Perth. I mean, you live there, but like I'm so like for me, I never really would expect Perth to be like a slower pace kind of area because it's the one of three big cities in the entire fucking continent of
yeah,
Australia. You know what I mean? So I would expect that there would be like, you know, you know, Amazon wouldn't take 3 weeks. You could go to a Walmart type store or
yeah. We've
you'd
got
have
Target.
have choices and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, no, I would like 100% like I don't know if I could survive that because I we work a lot of smaller towns and like around Florida for what we do for work. And you definitely get that small town vibe, and everything shuts down at like 3 or 4 o'clock. So everyone's going to church, and like there's one Walmart, there's one grocery store, there might be two little tiny little markets, a coffee shop, and and a couple of like restaurants. You might have a McDonald's down the road,
Can't
but if
escape
you want to go to
McDonald's.
yeah, you want to
No
go to
matter where
Taco
you
Bell, you
go.
gotta drive. You gotta go to if you want to go to Taco Bell though, you gotta go drive, to the next town over, stuff like that. Like that's the vibe that when you're describing it, that's kind of how I feel like in a smaller town, like here and around Florida. And I'll tell you right now, you're better than me because I'd be like, I don't
Nope.
know what I would do. I'd be
Uh,
like, get me out of here.
no,
So like
I think the
I
city
get
does.
it.
The city does well, like you said, when like the
Yeah,
wrestling comes down here. I think it's the city looks after its citizens by trying. They understand that there's not a lot to do, so they try and book out as much as they can. The RAC Arena, which is the arena that is in the middle of the city, is always booked out with
yeah,
the biggest names that they could get, and also they've got like the basketball is pretty big down here, and also
mhm. You guys
there's
got
sort of there's
a football team?
It's
Just off.
the soccer's it's there. Perth is the worst one, Perth Glory. So I mean, it's going to be hard to support when you're watching your team get battered every week. But I'm used to that with Huddersfield
Fair.
Town anyway. Um,
Yeah, they won't. Yeah.
but it's hard to spend money when your team's losing. Uh, and
Yeah,
then
for sure.
the AFL is big over here, the Australian Football League, which is basically like it's
Okay.
just it's a mix of rugby and football. Um,
Yeah.
and we've got two teams. There's the
Okay.
Eagles and the Fremantle
Okay.
Dockers. So
Okay. Let's go,
it's more
birds.
franchised like America. I think the American type style franchise sports do very well over here.
Yeah.
And they're very family based as well, which I think is America
Okay.
does very is really good at is when the sports days come around. Like it's not football hooliganism like it is it's tribal warfare in the UK. That's what it is. It's just an excuse
Yeah.
to kick the ever living daylights out of one another, and it's just socially acceptable. Uh,
Yeah.
maybe not to the police, but
Yeah, but to everyone else, right?
It's an unwritten rule in UK culture that if you're from
Yeah.
a rival town, you're allowed to have a bit of a fight when the football's on. um, but no, the city does a very good job, and I think the population plays into its hands as well. Having only a 2 million population, I think it's around 2 million,
Yeah,
something like that. The streets are always clean. Infrastructure doesn't feel like it's crumbling and severely under pressure. Obviously, the hospitals do, but I think that comes with Australia. As long as a lot of Western countries now, with the baby boom, people
mm,
getting all economical, political in this goddamn. Well, it's not political. We won't talk about politics, but
yeah,
old person talk. Um,
yeah,
yeah, the populations are aging, so you have to kind of like adjust the
yeah,
facilities and direct the money in the right places. So more park renovations for walking. Obviously, it's got Western Australia's got probably if the best coastline in the world.
yeah,
So they look after that more than anything else, but they're not really pushing business. They don't need business. A lot of it is the mines. So it's
yeah,
all precious metals, copper. Given how big Western Australia is, and most of it is just outback, sand,
yeah.
raw. I won't call it desert, but it is close to desert. Most of the money is there's two skyscrapers in Perth, and the two skyscrapers are owned by both of the mining companies. That if
All
that's
right.
an ever like visual
Yeah,
representation of where the money is,
yeah,
it's like the banks aren't the skyscrapers; it's the mining company.
yeah. No, yeah. Because I mean, what else are you gonna do with all that open land?
Yeah,
Like you got,
and
you
I
know
think
what I
that
mean?
contributes to why it feels empty as well, because a lot of
Yeah.
people that work the mines fly in, fly out. So they're on the mines for
Mhm.
3 weeks, but then they get like a week and a half, 2 weeks off to do whatever they want. So a lot of the
Mhm.
population is literally underground,
Yeah. That's quite wild to think about, but yeah,
which is
definitely.
polarizing opposite to Florida. Florida's in your
Yeah.
face. I love Florida, man, but I love the touristy aspect of it. I know you've seen the depths of what Florida
Yeah,
has to offer.
man. I mean, so I always feel like it's a little bit not unfair to like talk shit about Florida, but I will because I live
You
here.
can.
Um,
You've got
yeah,
the
yeah.
right
I
now.
mean,
You've earned the
yeah,
badge.
it's just exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, like when I first came down here, like within the first month, I was like, all right, Florida's kind of cool. Like the people are really nice. They've got, they're kind of going at their own place. And the cool thing about, like, interesting thing about where I live in Tallahassee, which is the capital of Florida. I'll tell you right now, it does not feel like the fucking capital of Florida. It's probably one of the smaller cities in the country. I don't know. I mean, the state, which I don't know why Tallahassee. I know why Tallahassee is the capital, but like, it's just like doesn't feel like it would be the capital because there's not a whole lot of stuff going around there.
Similar in Australia, it's Canberra. Like
Yeah,
everyone thinks it's Sydney. It's Canberra. But
yeah, exactly, right? It's like, why is that the capital? But anyways, but the town is split into two parts. So because we're a really big college town. Florida State University, one of the top like colleges in the entire country. Apparently like is right here in Tallahassee. So we have different seasons. So for half the year, there's you know thousands of college kids, and then the regular population of Tallahassee, and then the summer months come in, and then it's just the regular population of Tallahassee. And most of the population of Tallahassee is people who are old as fuck, and they just live here because they've got old money, and they are poor as fuck. Is what I've learned. They're either really rich or
polarized. Yeah.
they're really fucking poor, and like because we got like one thing I was talking to my roommate about is like I looked at her and I was like, "Do you think that there are more homeless people here than back in Virginia Beach? Because Virginia Beach's population is a lot bigger than Tallahassee." Um, and it's like, no, I think we Virginia Beach had more, but it's more condensed. Like it's really much more noticeable because of the area we're at. That we the population is a little bit more condensed, so you can really see the effects. And so Tallahassee has a really split like kind of feel about it. Like it's not like anywhere else in Florida, I would say, because one, I haven't really been too far from it. I've been to Orlando. I've known a lot. I've met people that lived in Miami and Jacksonville, and they're just like, it's just really big city life. Miami's super fast paced. Orlando's just a bunch of touristy people and
Yep.
people who live in Orlando do business. People who live in Orlando just do business over there. And then Jacksonville's just a typical city on the coast. But Tallahassee is super unique. But it's also very much still Florida in the weirdest way. Even though it's the most unlike Florida that there is, it's still very much Florida. There's no other place like it in the entire world. I don't know how to describe it, but Florida is like its own like country inside of the United States. Like all other states kind of have like like kind of work in the same way. Like I've been to Virginia, I've been to New York, I've been to Carolina, I've been to a lot of the cities on the East Coast, some cities on the West Coast. But living here in Florida, people just do whatever the fuck they want. Like it's like as it feels like there's no laws in Florida. Like it's crazy. The driving is by far the worst I've ever been a part of. I fucking hate being in the car with someone who's driving, and I hate driving in Florida myself. Like it is fucking awful. And people say it's not even that bad. I don't. I think they have a different test than everyone else in the country
The Florida
because
test.
the
It's just a
Florida
vibe
test.
check. It's just a vibe check.
I think it's if you can just at least turn your car on and hit the gas, you're good to go.
Give us a
Because it's
couple of
like
turns. Left, right. You got it.
not even left or right, man. Just can you keep your wheel straight for some of the time, right? Like the driving here is god awful. Tallahassee specifically, it feels like a nice like it's got everything you could want. It's got Walmart's, it's got it's got everything that you would need. I mean, it's got to sustain a bunch of college kids for majority part of the year anyway. So it's a nice city. It's got everything that you need. There's also nothing like unique about Tallahassee. Like it's still Florida, but like there's nothing like interesting. Like the cuisine here isn't anything to write home about. You know, it's a lot of good Hispanic food because you would think that the further south you go in Florida, the more Hispanic food you get to. You know, there's just some, you know, so you think seafood, but you know, we're not on the coast really, so not the seafood's not the best. Like, so it's just very basic like restaurant experience here. Even though it's a college town, there still isn't a whole lot to do either. Like, and that's probably my biggest thing about Tallahassee is the one thing Tallahassee's got going for is they do parks really well. They've got a lot of really nice parks and lots of outdoorsy stuff that you can do out there. But there isn't a whole lot to do. I think we got like two bowling alleys, and one bowling alley's completely trash. You've got, you know, we got bars at the wazoo because it's college area, so you got
Yeah.
a bunch of the nightlife scene is there, but then again, you know, the nightlife scene's there for people who are like 21 to like 25 and 6, right? Like I'm not going to a bar in a college town. I'm 31 fucking years old. It's
Yeah,
not my
you
fucking
get
scene.
aged out very quickly. Like you
Yeah,
do.
and then if you don't want to, you can go to like the bars here, but then you're with freaking Joe Schmo who's got 7 kids and 2 wives. You know, and
It
so it's like
drives
a
home.
very yeah, exactly. And drives home after about 7 beers, right? Like, so it's like a very like weird, like kind of dynamic thing going on, at least in Tallahassee. And the people here, I just you mentioned that you feel like you're semi-retired. I kind of feel that way a little bit too, because people are just so go with the flow here, which I'm a go with the flow kind of person myself. But like I also have some urgency in what I do. Right? Like I've got places to be, I've got things to do. People here, at least specifically the people who are not in college, they got nowhere to go. They got no one to see. They're doing their own fucking thing. Right. I think I told you this one time. I literally was talking to a lady and she's like, "Oh, I'm in a hurry." And I swear to God, she slowed down. Like she just slowed down. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, like you know, like she's like walking at a decent pace, and then I'm like, "Man, before you go," she's like, "Oh, I'm in a hurry," and then she just started slowing down and saying hi to people that she was walking. Oh my gosh, hi Joy. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this is probably like my first like 2 weeks being here, and I'm like, huh, interesting.
All right.
Um, yeah, I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, you know, and coming from living in Virginia Beach my whole life, um, well, it is a touristy area. It can be during the summertime. the local scenes, there's so much to do in Virginia Beach. You're surrounded by multiple different cities, which is the one thing Tallahassee doesn't go have going for it. It's surrounded by a bunch of small towns. So you can go to Quincy, which is like 30 miles away, and that's like one of those slower towns that I feel like closes down at like 5 o'clock. Then you got another small town, then you got another small town, and then if you want to go to the next biggest city, the next biggest city would probably be like Valdosta, which is in Georgia, and it's about an hour and a half away,
That's
right?
a
And then
long
if you want to
time. That's
exactly, like to get to another decent sized city like Tallahassee. And then if you want to go to another decent sized city, you're going to be going east or west, and you got to go about 2 hours because 2 hours that way is Jacksonville, and then 2 hours that way is Panama City, which are again two bigger cities, and then even further down is Pensacola. But like again, Tallahassee is kind of like weirdly in the middle of that little the straight part
yeah.
of Florida when you look at it, and like it's like kind of just smack dab in the middle, and there's just nothing else around it for miles and miles and miles, except those two bigger cities in Florida that are again 2.5 hours away. And then one thing I've realized about Florida, which also kind of annoys the fuck out of me, is we got an airport here, right? But it is the fucking small, and it's not a regional airport. It's an international airport. They do out of country flights. It is the smallest fucking airport I have ever fucking seen. And God bless you if you try to fly out of Tallahassee. It's just not worth it. Like it's like six. Like I looked for a flight to go from here to Virginia Beach, around like literally like 2 months ago, just to kind of just see what it would be like in April. $600 to
How long's the flight?
go for like 3 hours. Yeah, and if you were to go drive 2.5 hours to Jacksonville, you could get the flight for $200. So like why like I'm paying
Are
the
they
money
just
to
preying
drive
on,
two and a half
like,
hours.
politicians and, like, like,
I,
public servants? Because they're having
like I
to
told
fly
you,
in and out?
I would assume so probably, but also like I told you, there's money here, right? Like the income here is pretty high for like the higher end of people too, so they probably could afford the convenience of having it there. But again, it's a smaller airport, so again, the flight itself is a 3 hour flight if you were to get direct, but you're not getting it direct. It's like a whole day affair too. Because I looked at it, I would fly. It would be $600, but I would fly from Tallahassee to Orlando. I'd be in or Orlando or Atlanta, and I'd be on an overlay for like 8 hours to go catch another hour and a half flight to get to Virginia Beach or
At
Norfolk.
that point, you just
Um,
bite the bullet and drive
it,
for 24 hours, right?
I feel like at that point it might be cheaper. Um, but like it's crazy though. Like so, it's just like what the fuck? Why do we even have an airport here? But again, it's the fucking capital of Florida. It has to have an airport,
Yeah.
right? Like so, it's just like I don't know. It's a weird area to live in, but it's fucking home at this point, right? Like I've been here for a year now.
Do you
I'm
call it
kind of
home? Because I
no,
don't.
I don't
Whenever I say home, I mean UK,
yeah.
and I don't think that'll ever change.
Yeah.
I was speaking to someone who's originally from Italy that I work with. She's been in
Mhm,
Australia pretty much like 20, 30, 40 years now.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
every time she says home, it's Italy. Like
And and I
I
and I
don't think
think
it ever changes.
I think that's is normal though, right? Because that's where your family's at, right? Like for me, the reason why Virginia Beach will always be my home, unless like get married, have children, stuff like that, and I plant my roots here in Florida. Like for me, home is always going to be Virginia Beach because that was where I was born and raised for 30 years. No matter what, half my life I spent there, right? Like it's literally like been home for me for 30 years. My immediate family's there. My family, my mom and sister do live in New York, but my immediate family, my closest friends that I grew up with all still live in Virginia Beach. Like for me, that will always be home, right? But this is my home now. And it's not been an awful experience. I feel like I complain a little bit about Florida, but because Florida just be frustrating, just be a little frustrating sometimes. And maybe one day, maybe a year or two down the line, maybe I won't be complaining because I will finally adapt like a wild species and fully become Floridian. Who knows? But I'm still very much a Virginian living in Florida, and yeah, it's been a good time though. Like, I
Do
mean,
the
I think
locals
about
know
it.
it?
Like,
Because obviously
oh
for me,
yeah, they can.
they're like that. It's easy to clock on. You hear my voice, it's like you're not from here. Like,
Oh my god, you can 100% tell that I'm not from here. Like, the locals can tell. Like, even though I'm like pure white faced, like Caucasian with a beard, like kind of guy. Like, literally, someone was
you could
telling me
pass as a
today that
Floridian if on
I
face
could, I
value.
could, I could pass as a Floridian for face value, but the way I carry myself is not Floridian at all. Like, I talk very, what's the word I'm looking for? I talk very fluent when I'm speaking to people specifically.
Yeah.
Um, I have good eye contact with people. I have a good posture, right? Like, I'm not, like most people are kind of hunched over, like, but when I'm talking to people, I'm up front. I'm talking to people. Um, I also move with purpose, right? I'm not fucking twiddling my thumbs doing day to day things. Like, I'm got something to do. I'm doing it, right? So, they can sniff me out from a mile away. They can take one look at me, but the second they see me move, they're like, this guy's not from. He is not a Floridian. Like, someone was telling me today, they were one of the people we work with. They were at an event, and they were talking about how they met some guy at this tractor supply, which is obviously me. And they're like, "Yeah, we talked to the guy at the tractor supply," and the lady was like, "Oh, the guy who looks like the surfer guy, the long hair and the beard." They're like, "Yeah, him. He's not from here, is he?" And I'm like, "Bro, like, leave me alone."
The surfer guy. And
Like,
now I've never thought that about Luke ever, but now you say it,
yeah,
I can
the
see
long
it.
hair and yeah, exactly. When I tell people I'm from Virginia Beach, they're like, "Oh yeah, you surf." I'm like, "Well, I did. I definitely did." So yeah, I guess you're right. you know, but so yeah, they don't pick on it at all. They know for a fact I am a northerner, I guess, as they would refer to it, even though Virginia's technically in the South, but whatever.
So we've been bashing for like the majority of this podcast right now. Is there? There's got to be something good, right? Like what? What?
Yeah,
Give me
of
something. Give me
course, of
something good.
course. Yeah, I mean, I got a couple things, man. Honestly, like, the cool thing about where I live in Tallahassee, like I talked about this, like there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of like nature stuff, right? I've never been a super outdoorsy person as an adult. I'm much of a inside. I'm gaming. I'm playing, my games and stuff like that. I'm doing content or something like that. Specifically in the last couple of years. But yeah, no, being out here, it just makes me want to be outside. I'm outside a lot for my job, anyways. But like every single, almost every single like Sunday or so, me and my roommate we go out to the lake and we go walk around, play Pokemon Go, go out to the pool. You could like I feel like there's a lot of stuff to do outdoors besides like Virginia Beach. It would just be go to the beach, because the beach is right there. Like there's more things to do, nature trails. We got a lot of really cool parks and stuff like that. They do festivals and events here all the time. Even though I'm not very big on that, I've only gone to like maybe one or two, and it's been because of work. But every single weekend, there's something happening in the town. Like it's not like a nothing's going on. There's like they did like an art festival last week. They did a strawberry festival the week before that. They're probably gonna be doing Pride here in like the next couple of weeks or something like that as well. So there's always something going on, and of course, it is the capital. So it wouldn't be the capital without your little protests here and there. So that's if ever
Always
I
fun to
want to
watch.
stick. If I ever want to stick it to the man, I'm going up there. But like, like I like the outdoorsy stuff of it as well. I do enjoy the fact that we are a little bit in a college town because while I don't the adults here, they're very much from Florida. I like the fact that specifically with my job where I go do face to face pretty much all day long and I'm talking to people. I'm talking to a lot of these young kids, man, like from a different like from across the state, country, world. Like I met people from Nigeria, I met people from England, Australia, China, freaking like cities in Oklahoma and Nebraska and stuff like that. Like it's pretty cool. Like it's kind of like a cool little melting pot, but it's not melting pots of older people. It's just young minds coming together. And these conversations that I'm having with these younger people, man, like honest to God, like I think like, man, you know, I'm actually kind of happy, even though I'm a little bit older than most of them. I'm getting close to about a decade older than most of these people in college now. Which is crazy to fucking say. But like the world's in a good. I think the world's in good hands, man. Like I've talked to some really cool people. They got really smart. They're sharp, man. Like I feel like back in the day, I felt like my group of people were sharp, but man, these people coming out of school now, they're sharp as fuck, dude. Like
Yeah, they
they're
know what they're
smart
talking about.
motherfuckers. They know what the
They
fuck
they
they're doing right there.
they
Yeah,
the kids don't get time to play them out anymore. The targeted Instagram and TikTok ads are like, well, if you're not doing crypto or you're not in the business, like, what are you doing? And you've got these little
yeah.
like teenage entrepreneurs making millions, and it's
Exactly, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's funny because now these guys are like properly like in like the content creator era where that's a career that people can do,
yeah, and
right? Like that's
the fact that you could just start, like,
you can just start.
there's very little buy-in. At this point, your
Yeah,
parents buy your phone mainly because they
you're
want
good.
you to have contact with you. Like, that is the
Mhm.
main purpose of a telephone. And
Yeah,
then the byproduct of that is it has a camera on the back.
exactly,
Done.
right? So like exactly. So yeah, talking with a lot of the young people is pretty cool. And then I mean, obviously I like my job, you know. I
Well, yeah,
wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my job, you know what I mean? Like
because
I
you kept the
like
same job,
and it,
didn't you? Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah, I
just a
came
moving
over here.
location.
I came here, kept the same job. Obviously, there's like challenges with doing a brand new market, figuring out what these people care about. Do they care about children and suicide prevention? Most of them do. Some of them don't. They're very southern in their ways. Some of them are very much like, I was bullied as a kid and da 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 da, or
Yeah,
I know how to deal with, stuff like that. Once again, yeah, there's a
fine.
lot of people like that back home, but like again, like it's like kind of navigating how we're going to tackle that market, how we're going to respond, how we're going to overturn some stuff. So there's obviously little challenges here anytime you move into a different market and area in general. But overall, like the work experience has been positive. Finding a good group of people that like genuinely want to grow, want to learn, stuff like that. Um, Coming the people I've worked with, who've come and gone. Met some really cool people again, like people doing this who have really, awesome things going in their future. So I would say there's definitely a lot of positive going on there. I know it sounds like you're negative on a lot of things, but like for me, I'm negative because it's a fucking thing that annoys me, and it's really easy to talk about shit
It
that
is.
pisses
It's
you off
easier to
than it is
bash
to
than it
talk.
is to praise.
As it's easier to bash than it is to praise, but overall, like the experience has been a good experience. I trust me, if I did not like living here, I would not be living here. Like it would. It's not. It's like it's that's how it says. About as simple as that. Like if I did not want to be here, I would not be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like if I did not like what I was doing, if I hated Tallahassee that much, I would not be living in Tallahassee. I would not be spending money to stay here in Tallahassee to work in Tallahassee if I didn't enjoy living in Tallahassee. So obviously I like it. It's not that big of a deal. Sure, there's some negatives associated with it, but most of the time I'm just a happy camper. I go to work, I do my job, I come here, I do a podcast, I play some games, and I watch some TV, and maybe I'll go outside and go to the pool, and then I will rinse repeat. I'm a 31-year-old man who has no children. I am living a good life. I am good.
yeah,
And I'm happy. And I guess the most overall arching thing is overall I'm, which is I guess the most important thing of it all, right?
yeah. Um, I think I'm in a similar boat to you, Luke. Like, it's I feel like Tallahassee, but the more we talk about it, Tallahassee and Perth are like, barring a coastline, very, very, very similar. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not using or making the most of being here at the moment, but that's because we're on lockdown. I've got the finances on lockdown. We've had our years of, and I do not regret it whatsoever, of going on holidays, and especially when you're in Europe and it's so easy and accessible. Like, you can fly
Yeah.
I went to Barcelona 3 or 4 times. I've been to America 4 times. I've like I've done Portugal. I've done France. I've done no Denmark. Yeah, Copenhagen. Yeah, I've done Italy twice, Cyprus. I've Turkey twice. I all that money that I should have been putting away for a house has been spent exploring, and now
Enjoy.
I'm paying the price for it because
Yeah.
we've hunkered down the finances. But that doesn't really that's kind of given me the negative vibe that I have at the moment
Yeah.
because finances are on lockdown. We don't really do much other than we can't really we can go out to eat every so often, but most of the time we're spent hunkered away, watching TV, like you said, going for we don't even really go for walks because it's not my type of thing. I'd rather sit here in front of DaVinci Resolve and edit, but we might go out sometimes. We do a bit of
Yeah.
shopping here and there. We go to IKEA or Bunnings, which is a local hardware store. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't think I'm used. Once we maybe get out of that rut and we've got a fairly decent financial base, um, we could start probably taking more advantage of what Perth has to offer, which is the
Yeah.
coastlines. You go down south, there's Margaret River. There's quite a lot of really good restaurants. The problem is I like having a good few beers, especially because it's sunny. And the
Yeah.
instant UK thing is the moment a spike of vitamin D hits, the only thing that calls for is a pounding to the liver. Uh, it's something genetic in the UK,
Yeah.
born into like UK people.
Yeah.
Uh, so I know that I'm not taking advantage of Perth as much as I
Yeah.
should be, and like you see all these adverts of like come to Australia, having a great time, the beach, and they don't show the spiders and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they hide the truth behind that you're one night like 1 meter away from being beat up by a kangaroo. Uh, no, I honestly I haven't even like seen a kangaroo since I've been here. Like in the
That's
metropolitan
crazy.
area, it's like they're all out. They've got their space. I've got my space. I don't need to fight anymore. I'm not going to invade. It's the
Exactly.
same with the sharks, right? I don't go surfing.
Yeah.
Like I'm not meant to be in the water. I can't swim very
Oh my
well.
gosh.
They can. Like they can't get me when I'm on land until
I'm
they
just
start
I'm
walking. Until they
I'm just thinking I'm just thinking about like if I were to come visit, obviously the first thing would want to do would be go to the coastline with you guys, and then I can literally just see you like looking at me as I'm like strapping my surfboard to my face. My thing like he's gonna die. He's gonna go get you.
see you
Not
later.
gonna be me. See you later. I'm just lost my co-host. The team changes over. you know.
Uh,
That's funny. I
but
don't know. That's
but
made
yeah,
me think
like
about
I've
that.
got people, and then work isn't so bad. Like
Yeah.
I think I've leaving my previous workplace. I had it so good, and I know I did. I know I did.
Mhm.
Like the workload was very hectic and hard, and it took a toll on me. But the people I was surrounded with were there was a lot of people my age. We all got on. It was a very like tight knit work group.
Yeah.
And leaving that and coming here where everyone's older than me. I am the youngest in the lab by a little bit.
Mhm.
Barring one girl that's like 1 year older than me, us two together, and then the next jump is like 10 years. Um,
Oof, wow.
so yeah, I struggle in that regard because I don't relate to a lot of the conversations they're having. Um,
Yeah.
they've all got kids. They're talking about things like it's not. Meanwhile, back home, where everyone's my age, we talk about like the F1. We'll go out for drinks. It's not.
Yeah.
It's everyone has that. You try and stick around your own age group because I mean, God, as Luke
Yeah.
said, we can't hang with the kids.
Yeah. No, we cannot. We cannot.
These kids are on another
No,
level.
no, and it makes sense. Like again, like you and I have left home where all of our mates, all of our friends are. Like it's a thing. Like if I was not doing something online, I was hanging out with Asa, my old roommate. Like if I wasn't hanging out with Asa, I would go to the shore and hang out with my friend Mason. Every like month or 2 months or so, my friend Hunter would come up with some plan to go do something.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like it's kind of different now because it's like not that you lose, you kind of, not like you lost your friends because you're always going to be friends and you always catch up and chat. and all that good stuff. But you're missing out on the stuff on the interactions face to face now because again the distance, right? And so coming to a new place where coming from again coming to a new place and not being quote unquote a young adult or a child, and you're fully into the work mode of things, all you really got the people you interact with on a day-to-day basis from what you've told me with since everything closes at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you got the people that you work with, right?
Yeah.
And for you, your people that you work with are older than you. And for me, the people that I work with 9 times out of 10 are a little bit younger than me, right? So for me, I guess it's a little bit easier for me because I work with kids, so I can get down on their level. I'm not saying I have to get down like a childlike level with people, but I can kind of come down a little bit and be a little
And you're
bit
not so
more
far gone that you understand the lingo and you get the jokes and the
exactly
yeah,
right.
it's
So if I was working, but the thing is, I worked with old, like when I was working in childcare, I was working with people who were always 10, 15, 20 years older than me. They were just women because all I worked with were freaking women. No lock on the women, but they were just women, mothers, and children. And I'm just this lovable
science
young
is
boy, and
dominated by women as well, which
yeah,
is
they all
I
love me,
I was the only
So
male
it's just
in my
exactly,
team.
exactly, and
They
you're
were
working
called it the
with
token
people
male. So there was one guy that left
exactly,
Eddie, and they replaced Eddie with me. And then when I left,
yeah,
they replaced me with Shane. And it's like that
exactly.
is the token male to balance out all the estrogen.
Exactly, right? And so it's just like, and then I'm working with older people, but they're older women, I have a mother, and I have an older sister, so it's not like communication was ever hard in the workplace, right? But yeah, when you don't know people and you've been to a new place and you've only been there, all you know are the people you work with. Because if not, you're like you said, you come home to Rachel. I come home to my roommate, and that is literally like the main person I interact with outside of a workplace setting, right? And so, and that's all we got until we want to be, unless we want to be social butterflies and go meet people, like
I
which I'm
can't do it,
not
man.
doing.
I
I
can't
can't
do
do
it.
it. I'm not.
It's
I'm
because
not that kind
usually
of
it
guy.
involves like a club of some sort.
Yeah,
Now I could
yeah. I'm
do
not.
sports again. I like maybe I
Yeah,
guess like I could maybe go cricket's big down here. I could maybe join a soccer team. But
yeah,
like I'm not that invested, and I don't want to. The problem is, it's not like I've got commitment issues because I've had a long-term relationship, but I don't want to commit. Like when you play cricket, you're playing every Sunday. This is like every
yeah,
Sunday without fail. Um,
yeah,
like I don't mind. Like this podcast is great because it's social interaction for me. Which I suppose. Why is this any different? I'm just having like a mental realization now. I'm just going to unload on you. Like, why is this any different to like not going and playing football or going to the because this is what it is.
it's
Like it's social
it's
interaction,
not.
but for some reason this sits better to me. I don't know if it's because like I see you as like a home friend because
Yeah,
we originally met when I was in the UK, so it's like this is now acceptable.
yeah. Well, I
Uh,
mean, it's the same thing, right? Like, it's like, yeah, no, you're right. Because for me, this is my social interaction. Like I sit here and every week without fail, I'm talking to you for 2 hours plus about something. Because after this podcast, since we usually shoot the shit for 30 minutes, unless I'm fucking dead asleep, which I will be after this podcast.
yeah,
But, but you know what I mean? Like, but we do that. And then when, God forbid we do a tournament or something like that, that's like a whole fucking day thing.
yeah.
Like, I know I'm clocking up at 8 a.m. on a Sunday and I'm chilling with y'all till 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon for 5 or 6
I
hours.
suppose it's the length of
God,
the season maybe that's throwing me off. Like
yeah, could
that's
be.
a commitment for like 6 months of
Yeah. Well, I mean,
six
it's
to eight
draft league.
months.
It's
Yeah, it's
draft league
draft league,
right
and
there.
then we all. In fact, yeah, that's a good like point. Like we don't do draft league anymore for that exact reason that it takes too long,
Exactly. Yeah,
and schedules
exactly.
don't
So
match up. It's
and
it's tough.
I guess
It's just tough.
I guess it just boils down to, I mean,
We all just need
maybe we're
money.
just maybe we're just old. Maybe we just don't need to make friends anymore. Maybe we're just
Yeah,
at
this
that
is it.
age where we're just like, I've made like I'm gonna be real, like I could meet people, but like I got my friends back home. Like I've got my roommate, I've got you and Nick.
Yeah, maybe we've
I
got to a
got
point where
other
it's just
friends.
enough. Like we're
I'm just like
content.
I'm good. I'm content. Like I don't need to meet new people. If I want to talk to someone, I will literally hop on Discord with my friends and chat while I'm playing a game, or I'll be messaging, or I'll be like, "Hey Nick, what are you doing? You're 6 hours ahead of me, so it's not that late for you. Get on." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, or I'm just again hanging out with my roommate. You know what I mean? Like that's literally like
I suppose there's a
I'm
social
good.
pressure to be
I'm
outside.
content.
Like gaming still like this is still
Yeah.
taboo to a
It
certain
is still
extent.
taboo. It
Um,
very much is. It still very much is taboo. I think
so
it's really
maybe
weird to
that's
think
it.
about too.
That we're just
Yeah.
getting like because the next generation will get this. Like if I have kids and you have kids, like if we see them and they're gaming and they're doing this, it's like, well, no, they're interacting. It's fine. But if
Yeah, I'm
my
not
mum
gonna think
saw me
anything
like,
less of.
I don't think my mum listens to this, but like if she did, she'd be like, "What the hell are you doing? Go outside. You're in Australia." Like,
I mean, I remember the epiphany my mom had when I told her I was meeting my friend Jake from England to go down the floor. Hey,
oh,
I'm
internet
flying down the
friends.
Florida.
Oh, I don't know. I'd
You know
still
what
be
I
a bit
mean?
cautious if I was a parent. Like, ooh, I
Oh,
mean,
yo, I would
lucky I
be
did it
too.
when I
I
was
would.
like 20. What were we? God, we were like 20, twenty,
I was 29. You're probably what 28
28.
or 27.
So they're like
Yeah.
that's allowed.
Yeah. Of course. No, I want to be like, hey, let's. I would be like, oh, my 10-year-old son wants to go meet his friend. Unless it was your kid. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
like I'm coming with.
yeah, like I'll see you. See you in Perth, man. Let's go fight some kangaroos. But like, yeah, no, we're not like, no, I'm not doing that. But like, yeah, you're exactly right. It's the social interaction. Like, my child would be like interacting with people online, I think it would be fine. Also, you know what? Now I feel like we're getting a whole other thing. I'm actually
We're
not
just
thinking
having
about it.
epitomes
I
all the time. It's like, hang
Yeah,
on.
I think I would. I think I would be okay with it. But thinking back to it, besides like this whole thing of how like content creation and stuff like that, and getting in game parties, most of the people I talked to in game chat I knew from like school, anyways. So like I
Same.
feel like the kids, like my kids are gonna meet their friends from school, hop on the game, and then maybe like one or two friends that they don't really interact with might hop in the game party and chat, and then they'll become friends that way. But like now I'm thinking about, I honestly, you, Seb, and Nick are like the most randos that I've ever met and actually
I would
became
say so
friends
too.
with.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's absolutely wild.
And it's because
Um,
of content creation. It's not
so
because we joined a random Xbox party or something like that. It was like we found each other on a whim because we Seb rated you and you rated me, and that's literally it. And
it
that
was the chain.
probably doesn't happen exactly.
But no, it's a bit. I think we've come a bit full circle. It's been a fairly.
Yeah,
I think we've covered what we wanted to cover today. I suppose the
yeah.
final
As
question is: are
mhm.
you staying?
Now that's a great question. I've actually come to terms with this answer quite a bit. Um, I personally don't see myself staying here long term. Now, long term, I'm not saying like a year or two I'm leaving. I'm talking like I don't see myself being here for like 5 years. I really don't. I just can't like see myself. And it's honestly just because I am feeling a little bit of like the FOMO from back home. One of my closest friends, Hunter, he's getting married this year. I wasn't able to go to the surprise engagement thing because I was here. Which kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. Um, my friends are, we're all getting, we're all in our 30s now. I think Hunter, my friend Hunter, is the only one that's getting married, but my friend Diego's been seeing a girl for a long time, so I know that that's probably gonna be happening soon. My friend Mason, we're really close, but he's been going through some personal stuff, which is sucks that I'm not there like physically to be able to like be there around him. But I know he's got my core group of friends with him as well. So it's like assured. My family's getting old, man. Like they're 65, 70 years old, man. They're getting surgeries and stuff like that as well. And my mother's getting old as well, and my nieces and my nephews are getting, they're starting. My niece is going to be 18 next year, so it's just like,
Big one.
you know,
Well,
I,
not in America.
you know what I
21's a
mean?
big one, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, 18, so I mean, she's going to graduating high school, which is a big thing,
Yeah, that's big.
here. So, yeah, so, like everyone's getting a little bit older now. So I feel like, it's weird to be away from family when you're like in that 30 range where unlike you who makes this big move to a different country, I can hop in a car and go move back and it takes me 15 hours, right? It's not, I mean, it's still a big move, don't get me wrong, but it's not like a thing where I can't still do what I'm doing work wise as well. Like I can always go back and do this what I'm doing now. But also, I worked with kids for so long. And that's also probably where I'm gonna end up being for the rest of my life. I love the kids, man. Like doing this is great. And I love what I do. I love the marketing. I love the business side of things. I love learning all the intricacies. But working with kids has always been my thing, whether that's being in the classroom with them, whether that be running a center for someone, whether that be potentially opening my own business one day and running my own childcare center, right?
Yeah,
Like, I'm gonna be working with kids no matter what, and I just don't see the future of me working with kids just being here in
yeah,
Tallahassee, Florida. Now, for some reason, I get married and for some reason I'm planting roots down here, then that's a different story. But like for myself, I personally don't see it long term. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be dipping out in 6 months, a year, or 2 years, maybe, but maybe 3, 4 years down the line, maybe I'll be getting the call to feel like I need to get back closer to my family and my friends. As I don't say I'm waning in my twilight years, but I'll be in my mid 30s at that point. And I think at that point in your life and your career, if you are not like
you need to
satisfied with where you're
stabilize.
at, you got to stabilize, right? And I
Yeah,
feel like that's where I'm like, and that's kind of like my point where I'm like, all right, if I've kind of gotten I'm at that point where I did something for so long with childcare for 15 years. I tried something new, which is this, and I'm enjoying this a lot. I don't know if it's something I'll be doing for the rest of my life. Who knows? I've been doing it for almost it'll be 3 years, and like next year in January that I've been doing this, doing a whole new thing. But getting into your mid 30s, I know at that point I'm gonna have to pick something and stick with it. The only reason why I switched was because I hadn't done anything else ever. Like I've only done one thing. I'm like, that's scared me, which is why I switched and did something new. Cause I'm like, I've only done one thing my entire life. From the age of 15 to 30, I worked with kids. That was it. Like I had to pick like a server job here and there, like during like the summertime, but I was still working with kids at that point. They were just fun little jobs I would pick up on the side. Right. Like that's all I did. I did nothing else. I never worked at retail. I never did anything. So I was like, I gotta at least expand the resume. So should I want to try to do something now different or want to add a skill set, I have a resume to build up on. But yeah, like you said, stabilizing at 30, like in mid 30s is kind of where I'm like, gotta figure out if this is what I want to do. And then when I figure out what I want to do, sticking with it until it's time to write my check off for Social Security when I'm 77 years old or whenever they boost it up for some reason. But
Jesus Christ.
whatever it ends up being by the time I can actually acquire it here in America. But gotta figure that out. But like I said, I'm still enjoying my 30s. Don't got kids. Not a whole lot of people can say that.
Yeah,
So it's just kind of like a thing where I have that freedom, and I know, but I do know my heart of hearts. I can't see myself being here long term, like more than 5 years total.
yeah.
Can't see it personally.
I'm I'm in the same boat. Um,
Hmm.
there is a specific financial milestone that when we get there, I'm hoping by spreadsheets calculations, pardon me, um, is 2 or 3 years time. That will sit me at 33. Um,
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. By 35, mid 30s, this is where the big decisions will be made. Like yeah,
Mhm.
the stabilization will come in, but there's a financial value where I need to be at, where we will then make a decision. Do we buy here? Do we buy in the UK? I was speaking to Rachel this morning. I was like, or last night, and I was like, the perfect thing for me is I'd love to be 6 months in the UK, 6 months here. And
Okay.
just do that on a rolling thing. Now, whether that could actually happen or not is another story. I'd love to like job share with someone, and the person who took my job, Shane, I had like when I go back, I was like, yeah, I have a slight proposition you might want to take. Like, can I have your job for 6 months, and then on the 6 months we swap, and you come and do my job in the UK, and I go back, like, just do the hot swap. So there's just two people, but it's doing the same job, and then I get the best of both worlds because I think that's what I'm realizing is I like here and I like home,
Yeah.
and like you, I've missed like Jack Stagdo, who we used to play draft league with. I am flying back for the wedding. It's costing
Yeah.
me a bomb, but that's something that I don't want to miss. So it's like I'm paying
Yeah.
it, and there's going to be other. events like this coming up where all of our friend group are hitting that age where kids' weddings are happening,
Yeah.
and you don't want to miss these things. And
No.
being away doesn't really tend to that. Plus, me and Rich have a kid. We're here alone. There is no
Yeah.
support circle. They that financially will cost an absolute bomb. I know my sister has used my mum to a living daylight, and I would like to do the same.
Yeah.
um,
Use your family, man. I know for the
yeah,
fact if I have kids, my mom will probably move to wherever the fuck I am. She's gonna say fuck the other grandkids and come
yeah.
down here.
Like
You know, she,
there's like you said, the family's aging as well. I haven't got much
yeah,
family left at the older end.
yeah,
But there is my mother's dad. I call him Papa, but granddad. His property will be going up for grabs in the uh in the family, and
exactly.
it's a good one, Luke. It's a good,
Oh yeah.
it's a good one. And then
Well,
if I could get
and
that
that's the
at a
crazy.
cut rate and keep it
That's
in the
actually
family.
crazy to
This is
think
it. It's because
about.
I like
Yeah,
I do think like there's a lot of property in the family that I do want to keep in the family. I don't want to lose
oh
that.
yeah,
Like I'd
oh
hate to
yeah,
just sell. I'd rather take a financial hit and rent it out to a family member for cheap, and you just pay off the
yeah.
rest. And
Mhm.
there's no rent hikes. There's no worry if you miss rent. It's like it's family business, not business.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. The same thing like with my family. Like my aunt lives in the house that my grandmother raised my mom and her sisters and brothers in. And when she passes, I'm most likely probably going to be the one that ends up getting it. And I'll probably be making, I'm still keeping it. You know, maybe she'll split up amongst the cousins. I don't know if she'll do that. But, you know, if someone ends up getting it,
You put your hand up
most
and
likely
say, "I would
it's
like it."
probably, on the low key, it's probably gonna be me because I'm probably the one that does the most. But that being said, they don't listen to this, but like in the nicest way possible. It's
Yeah,
just like those. That's the one. I'm the youngest one. I was the youngest one. My mom, my aunt, and my uncle didn't have kids. So I was their godchild by default. So when they and I lived about 10 minutes away from my aunt, so I would anytime something happened, like cutting her bushes or helping her with her garden or watching her dog or helping her with the internet,
yeah,
just like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, and it just also sucks because I can't do that now either.
yeah,
Like I can't hop on the be like I'm talking to God bless her heart, a 70-year-old woman over the phone about how she needs to go change her SIM card on her phone because she's got two phone numbers. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so like I don't know how else to explain it to her over the phone without physically doing it for her. So like just stuff like that. Like I get what you're saying, and yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like it's gonna be that split decision where you're gonna have to be honest with yourself
It
and
will be split as well. It'll be like,
yeah,
where are we pulling the trigger on a house? Um,
yeah.
well, maybe like if I hit the lotto, I don't play. There's a little syndicate at work that I throw five
Yeah.
dollars in a week or whatever, but I'm never going to win the big bucks. But God forbid, I one weekend I get that bug. When, like you just get a long string of good luck, or you get a long
Mhm.
string of bad luck, and it's like, okay, so I've been punished. I don't know if you get this psychological thing of like like everything's just gone
Oh
wrong.
yeah.
I'm
Oh
gonna buy
yeah,
a ticket.
everything.
I'm gonna buy a ticket, and I'm a nice guy. And if there's someone up there listening, like, come on, man. I know you've been testing me for the past few weeks. I've been really nice to everyone. I'm a good guy. I cuss a lot, and I'm left-handed, so that kind of automatically throws me
Same
into
here.
hell. That automatically like puts a bad tick on my name. But come on, man. No, or
Yeah,
something financially great happens, or I get like I
yeah,
mean, ideal for me. I'd love content. Say podcast blows up. That would be
yeah,
the best thing that could happen to me or Luke. I think at this point,
yeah.
podcast blows up. We could do this full time. It's never going to happen. But I want something remote. I want something remote. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I can push to a maybe take a career change because with science you kind of have to be there. I'd love a remote job where it would allow me to not financially support two houses, but buy a house over here
yeah,
and then rent from a family member in the UK on one
yeah,
of the family houses, and then
yeah.
that's it's kind of I want the best of both worlds, really, and most of the time you don't get that. But I'm gonna try my
Mhm.
goddamn hardest to do it. I'm here for the
Hey,
bag, and the
there
bag
you go.
may or may not be secured depending on if I continue to buy Pokemon games.
There you go. Stop doing that. I'm just
I
kidding.
need-
Do what you
yeah, I
want.
know. I need to stop. I need to stop buying old retro games and old
I
retro
will.
consoles.
I, I will let you know. You mentioned like the lottery. I'll tell you right now. The only way, Jake, the way you'll know if if I win the lottery is if I message you a Discord and I say drop the Addy. That's how you know. No consequences.
I
No,
I
we'll be
haven't
talking
told
about
my friend.
something
I
random.
haven't told like my close friends this, but I always had like I think everyone has this thought of when you buy a lottery
Oh
ticket.
yeah.
So when I was 18, it was a very it was a gift in a way. It's like
Hmm.
you're now allowed to buy lottery tickets.
Hmm.
So you went to the my mum gave me £5. It was like
Yeah.
go buy a lottery ticket. It's a mark of age.
Yeah.
And then obviously in the UK you're allowed to drink. So my dad took me to the pub, and it's like
Hmm.
here's your first drink. Um,
Yeah.
legal. Won't say anything after that. It's not like I've already seasoned.
Fair.
um, but yeah, I had this thing where it might be hard for you, Luke, because you probably would get a message. It would be a message of I'm in the pub at this time. Come join me for a
Oh.
drink. And everyone who turned up would get a split or
Oh,
a bit of cash. And if you didn't turn up, well, you obviously don't rate me
there
enough.
you go. There you go.
So
Damn.
if you get a message from
No.
me saying come to the pub, I've won, and I've won big.
Uh, and if you say that to me, I'm gonna be like, Jake, you know I can't come to the pub, but I'm here in spirit.
You could Discord call me at the time.
I'll be called.
You call me like
Hey,
I'm here. What?
I
How
literally just
much?
face. I'll video chat you, and I'll have a beer in my hand, like.
I'm here. How much?
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. I think yeah, I have the same thing with my friend group. I literally just said like, yeah, if I ever won the lottery, literally the only thing that I would literally like I told my roommate, I literally walk, uh, wake them up, and I'd be like, go, get in the car. Like I said, that's
Yeah,
it. Just like someone's in the house. Like it's either we've won the lottery or someone's come to kill us. There's a ghost in the house. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. And then I told my other close friends, I'd just be like, yeah, y'all just would just see a nice little deposit for X amount of money in your bank account. You wouldn't even know, and then you
yeah.
would never hear from me
Anonymous.
again.
Yeah,
You just like, where'd Luke go? Did he die? I'm like, I'm
I'm
over in
away.
Japan.
I'm
Alone. I'm
away.
in Japan alone. I'm with the Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm at the Pokemon Company banging on the door. I want shares.
Give me Charizard Z right now. Oh my god. But yeah, before we go off on another tangent, but yes, it's been a full year. It's been a ride. Ups and downs like anything in life. But ultimately, it's been a year. It's been a lot of changes. Some good, some not. Some good, some bad. But the biggest thing at the end of the day is, I think both me and Jake can definitely tell people that we are happy. We do not regret our decision, and we are here for now.
I'm healthy and I don't have back pain yet.
Well, I was gonna say I'm healthy. I have some back pain, but, but guys, that will do us for this week's episode of the DHH. I've been Luke, and that's been Jake, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. All right, guys, bye bye.
Bye bye.